Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Buying Tax Liens Online Now with Joanne Yusa. That's me. I'm the tax lien lady. And really happy to have you here tonight. We're going to talk about some exciting things of how to buy tax liens online. So I have a question for you to start with. My question is, what if you could invest your money for double-digit or high single-digit returns? And what if you could do that from home? What if you could do that from home? Now, I did a survey before this webinar to find out what everybody wanted to know about buying tax liens online, and 37 people filled out that survey, and almost everyone, except for one person, said that they wanted to invest in tax liens from home. Well, if you don't want to invest from tax liens from home, this is probably not the right webinar for you, okay? But if you do, you are in the right place. Now, only 2 people out of the 37 people that completed this survey said that they had participated in an online tax sale and bought some tax liens. So for all of you, this is a really good training for you, a introduction into how to invest in tax liens online. And what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to tell you my 3 secrets to buying tax liens online. And the very first one is, which states have online tax liens? Now, many of you that completed the survey said you wanted to know how to avoid the risks, how to invest safely online, and how to do your due diligence so that you skip the bad liens and only buy the good ones. Well, I have to admit that I won't be able to give you all of that training tonight, but I will give you a special opportunity to get more training from me, whether it's from a home study course that you can study at home and run with on your own, or if you need some extra hand-holding from me to get you through your first tax sales by your first liens. Now, others of you have said that you wanted to know which states sell tax liens, and that is one of the things that I will let you know about tonight, as well as the 4 critical things you need to know before you start investing, and my 5 steps to buying profitable tax liens. All right, so let's get going. Oh, and of course, I will tell you how you can get started now, and how you can get more training from me. But for those of you who know me, then bear with me a little bit. I want to talk to everybody. Maybe this is your first webinar with me, and tell you a little bit about why you'd want to listen to me. I've been investing since 2002. I've been teaching others to invest since 2004, and I've purchased hundreds of liens. And you know what? If I can do it, so can you, because I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, I don't have a background in finance or real estate. I'm a real estate investor now, but I wasn't when I started doing this. I was looking for a way to get a higher return on my money, and if I can do it, so can you. I believe it was 2010, I contributed to a book, Transform Your Ideas into Income. Actually, From the Heart is the title of the book, and Transform Your Ideas into Income is the subtitle. From Your Heart is the series, and that is for sale on Amazon. And then in 2013, I was mentioned in Forbes. In the January issue of Forbes magazine, they did an article about tax lien investing. Also in 2013, I wrote a Kindle book that in 2015 I published as a print book. And I just updated it last year for 2016, and that is Tax Lien Investing Secrets: how you could get 8 to 36% return on your money without the typical risk of real estate investing or the uncertainty of the stock market. But, I wasn't always a successful investor. Before I got in tax liens, I tried investing in mutual funds. As a matter of fact, I have a friend who's on this call with me tonight who did what I did. I did some options training. I made a little money. I lost a little bit of money. He lost a lot of money. He made a lot of money and then lost it all. But I went to seminars, did a lot of courses on how to invest, in real estate because really I thought that was the way to wealth. I still do. And and now a few years later, I finally started investing in real estate myself besides doing the tax liens and tax deeds. I think it's good to have multiple streams of income. But here's what happened. I kind of got a little frustrated with all that, and then I found a little known secret that allowed me to get insane interest on my money. I've been able to invest little by little without the risk of the markets, and I've averaged 14% on my money over these last few years using only this system, okay? And that is government tax lien certificates, as you probably have guessed right now, since I'm the tax lien lady. But government tax lien certificates are a safe alternative to stocks. Local governments depend on that tax on property. We're talking about property tax now. They depend on property taxes in order to meet their budget. You know, they need to pay school teachers, policemen, firemen. They need their roads. They need to build roads and all their maintenance crew. They need to have money for that. So when people don't pay their property taxes, they need a way to collect that money. So what do? Well, some states will sell those taxes to an investor. And in a lot of states, this is done on the county level. In some states, it's done on the municipal level. Here's how it works. Basically, the investor is paying the taxes and getting very high returns on their money and rates anywhere from 8 to 36% per year, depending on the state, right? Now, here's why it works. See, you might say, well, the property owner didn't pay the county or the municipality, so why should it pay me? Okay, well, the lien, what you do is you purchase this lien, you put a lien on their property, and if they don't pay that government lien off, because even though you own it, it's considered a government lien, it has to be paid within a specified period of time, or you, the investor, can foreclose on the property. Now, that's incentive for the property owner to pay off the lien and put money in your pocket. Now, it's a win-win for everyone. The local government gets the money they need to meet their budget. The property owner gets more time to come up with the money for their taxes. Basically, you're giving them a high-interest loan, but it sure beats having their property sold right out from under them to pay for their taxes, okay? And the investor, that's you. You get a high return on a safe investment. So here are reasons why I invest in tax liens. First of all, I don't believe in gambling with my money. I did that when I invested in the stock market. I don't do that anymore, okay? This is not a speculative investment. You can get 8, 12, up to 36% on your money. And actually, you could get more if you get the property. But in most cases, what you're doing is you're investing for a return on your money. It's not too often that you do get to foreclose on a property. Okay, but occasionally that happens. As a matter of fact, I got a call today from, actually got an email, and I called him from one of my members, one of my former members who bought courses from me 3-4 years ago and is just foreclosing now, actually foreclosed on 3 lots that are worth a lot of money in Colorado. They're big lots in very nice places. As a matter of fact, one sold, I think, in 2005 for over $600,000. And he plans on using that one to build his retirement home. So it does happen once in a while. Okay, but it's real estate secured. You're in first position to get paid, and there are no brokerage fees, and you could start with very little money. And here are some more reasons to invest. You don't need good credit. You could do it from your computer, and you can invest with money from your IRA or your qualified savings account. But not all states sell tax liens, okay? Some states will actually sell the property right out from under you. They're known as tax deed states because they're selling the deed to the property. And when you purchase a tax lien, you're not purchasing the property, you're just paying the taxes and putting a lien on the property. But when you purchase a tax deed, you're actually purchasing the property. Okay, now you typically need a lot more money for tax deeds than you do for tax liens, and that's because you're actually bidding up the price of the property at these tax deed sales. But tonight we're really talking about liens. All right. And so what if you don't have time to attend the tax sale, or what if you don't live in a state that sells tax liens? What if you live in one of those tax deed states and you want to invest in liens? Well, you can do it online from your computer. So how do you invest in tax liens from another state or from another country? Here is the first secret that I promised to tell you tonight, and that is which states have online tax lien sales. And let me just tell everybody this, just a little bit of housekeeping. We will be taking questions at the end of this presentation, and if you'd like me to answer your question, you could type it in there is a Q&A box and there is a chat box. If you type your question into the Q&A box and send it to all the presenters or all the panelists and attendees, I have help tonight. My friend Donna is going to take the questions for me and give the questions to me. So make sure you send your question to everyone so that Donna can read your question. All right, so let's go over which states have online tax sales. I know this is something that a lot of you wanted to know about. Now, when I first started teaching people how to invest on tax liens online, there were only 5 states that had online tax sales. Now there are 12. And if you include, there's 12 here on this slide. Now I have included one county in Tennessee, which is actually a redeemable deed state. And Louisiana, they're considered a tax lien state, but they're really more like redeemable deeds also, okay? Except they have a very unusual way of bidding. But these are all the states that do have online tax sales. Now remember, not all the counties or all the municipalities in these states have online tax sales. And there's a couple that only have one county that has an online tax sale. But Arizona, it was one of the first to be online. That's been online for years. Indiana has been online for a little while. Not all. In Arizona, about half the counties are online. Indiana, there's a few counties that have online sales, but not all of them, not most of them. Florida has most of the counties do have online tax sales. Maryland has quite a few counties with online tax sales, and in Maryland, every county is different. They have a different interest rate in every county in Maryland, and it varies from like 8 to 20% per year. So it can be quite different. And what I have in my Buying Tax Liens Online program, which I'll tell you about later, I have a guide to online tax sales that tells you what happens in each state. And in Maryland, it has a really big section because it goes through some of the different counties since they're so different. Louisiana has many of theirs are online also, not all of them, but quite a few. Colorado has about half their counties online as well. Nebraska has only one county online, and I'm sorry that I didn't put that for you on this slide, that there's one county in Nebraska online, and that is Douglas County, by the way. New Jersey has quite a few municipalities. Now, in New Jersey, everything is done on the municipal level, so it's the townships and the cities that will have these online tax sales. So don't do what a lot of people do and call the county clerk. They're going to know nothing about tax sales. They do not handle the tax sales. It is the township or the city tax collector that handles the tax sales. And many of them are online. Oh, and they've only been online for a few years. 3 or 4 years, I believe. 2012 is when the first municipalities went online. There were only about 4 of them that year, and then each year it quadrupled, So there's quite a few online now in New Jersey. Iowa has a few counties online, and again, they started in 2013 with only about 5 counties went online, and now there are quite a few in Iowa online. There is one county in Tennessee. Again, Tennessee is a redeemable deed state, and I've not included any deed states here. Only a couple of redeemable, because really there are no redeemable deed states that are online except for the ones that are here, which is really only Tennessee, one county in Tennessee, and that's Shelby County. And you probably don't want to invest in Shelby County because Shelby County is Memphis, Tennessee. Most people who I talk to that live in Tennessee don't even want to go to Memphis. They don't want to go there. It's got a very high crime rate, Memphis, Tennessee. So you might not want to invest in that county in Tennessee, but I just wanted to put it in here so that you knew that they had online redeemable deed sales. And one county in Missouri had their tax sale just this week. Monday was their tax sale, and that was Clay County, Missouri, for the first time ever online. You know, next year there might be more counties in Missouri that decide to have their tax sale online. And there's something very interesting about investing in Missouri tax liens. You must be a resident of the state of Missouri to invest. The only other way that you can invest is if you have an agent who lives in that county invest for you. The lien will actually be made out to your agent, and then they can assign it to you. And then Mississippi just had their tax sales, which are just finishing up now. There were at least 14, I think maybe 15 counties that for the very first time this year had their tax sales online. Not as good as some of these other online tax sales. I'll tell you why I think that. Because when you invest in Mississippi, they want you to give them all your money that you're going to invest right away. A lot of these other counties will only ask for a deposit that is 10% of your budget. Some of them have a minimum deposit, but you don't have to deposit all the money until you actually win your bids, right? Well, in Mississippi, they want all your money up front, okay? Anyway, these are all things that I talk about in detail in my guide to buying tax liens online. But let's go on. Again, if you have questions, make sure you put them in the Q&A box. You should have one somewhere on your screen. You might just have a little green arrow, and if you open up that arrow, then you'll see the little boxes, and there should be one for the Q&A. So if you have any questions, you put them in the Q&A and make sure you send them to everybody so that Donna can give me your questions later on. Now, let's go over my secret number 2, which is the 4 critical things you need to know before you invest. Now, some of you that have been on my webinars, you know these things, but for those of you that are new, let's talk about what you need to know. The first thing is the interest rate, because, you know, every county has a different, well, every state has a different interest rate, and some counties, we talked about Maryland, the different counties in Maryland have different interest rates. So you want to know what the interest rate is. And that is the rate that you're going to get when the lien redeems. Now, let me just clarify this. For some of you that think that you get a monthly interest on your tax lien, that's not the way it works. You get paid when the property owner pays off the lien. All right, it might be calculated monthly in some states, but it's not paid until the property owner pays the lien. Then the next thing that you need to know is the bidding procedure. Now, this is different in different states. Now, let's just talk about a couple of those states that were on the list that I gave you. You know, the difference between them. Now, Arizona, they bid down the interest rate. Their maximum interest is 16%, and they bid that down. And so it's pretty straightforward. So if you bid down the interest to, you know, 10%, or even lately things have been going, if it's something with a house on it, it can be bid down to, you know, 2%, and that's their bidding procedure. Now, it's very advantageous in Arizona to get bigger liens, because if you get smaller liens, you also have other charges. When you purchase those liens, you pay $10 per lien to the bidding platform, and then the county charges you $10 per lien. And you don't get interest on that, okay? So if you buy a small lien and you get it at a lower interest rate, then you're not going to make much money on your lien. So you want to go after the bigger liens in Arizona. Now, in Florida, another state that was on there, they also bid down the interest rate, and the maximum there is 18%, and they could bid that down in 0.25% increments. And it gets bid down sometimes to 0.25%. But in Florida, they don't just have an interest rate. There's a minimum penalty, and the minimum penalty is 5%. So a lot of bidders will bid down to 0.25%, because if that lien redeems, even if it redeems in a month, they're going to get that 5% minimum penalty instead of the 0.25% that they bid. But that's not the only reason they're willing to bid down to 0.25% to get those liens. Because in Florida, you also get to pay when the lien, it's got a 2-year redemption period. And after that 2-year redemption period, if the lien doesn't redeem and you don't actually foreclose on the property in Florida, you apply for it to go into a deed sale. You do a deed application, and when you do that, you have to pay all the outstanding taxes, and all that accrues at 18% until the lien either redeems sometime during this process, sometimes it does, or until it's sold at the deed sale, and that can take quite a few months, and you're making 18% on all that money during that time, 18% per annum. All right, the next thing is the redemption period. Now, we talked about the two examples that I already talked about, Arizona and Florida. Florida has a 2-year redemption period. Arizona has a 3-year redemption period. Remember that I said was able to foreclose on 3 properties? That was in Colorado. Colorado also has a 3-year redemption period. Okay, so it took them about 4 years to actually get those properties, but these are states that have longer redemption periods. Another state that was on that list, actually 2 others I'm going to talk about, Indiana and Maryland. Maryland has a 6-month redemption period, and Indiana has some very interesting tax sales. If it doesn't get sold in the first tax sale, it gets certified to the commissioner and it goes in a commissioner's sale. Well, in the first sale, it has a year redemption period. If it gets into the second sale, that redemption period is shortened into only 4 months. So that is the shortest redemption period that you're going to find for tax liens online. So that's another thing that you have to know. And again, in my guide to online tax liens, which is inside my Buying Tax Liens Online course, which I'm going to give you a really good rate on later, I'll tell you about that. All this information is in there, all this detailed information about all of these states that have online tax sales and all the websites that you go to actually participate in these tax sales. Now, the other thing that you want to know is the expiration period or the life of the tax lien certificate. Now, nobody talks about this. No other experts that I know, I've not heard them talk about this, but it's very important. They'll tell you about the redemption period, but this is not what we're talking about here. Liens expire. They have an expiration period and they will expire worthless. All right. Now, in New Jersey, where I invest, and again, that's another state that now has online tax sales, there is a 2-year redemption period. The bidding procedure, they bid down the interest rate, but then they will bid up the premium. Okay, and I go over that again in detail in the Guide to Buying Tax Liens Online. It's the only state that does that. But the expiration period in New Jersey is 20 years. Okay, the expiration period in other states is shorter. In Florida, and I don't go around with all this information in my head, I believe it's 10 years or 7 years. In Florida, I think it's 7 years. In Arizona, I believe it's 10 years. But don't quote me on that. The information is in my guide. Okay, that's where I have the information and I do all the research for it. I just don't keep all that information in my head. And the expiration period in states with real short redemption periods like Indiana and Maryland, well, I know in Maryland it's only a year after the redemption period ends. So you really have to get going in the states that have shorter redemption periods. They normally also have shorter expiration periods, which just means that at the end of the redemption period, you have to do something. If it doesn't redeem, you have to start foreclosure. So now let's talk about secret number 3. All right, and secret number 3 are my 5 steps to buying profitable tax liens. Not just 5 steps to buying tax liens, but 5 steps to buying profitable tax liens. Okay, here they are if you want to take some notes. Number 1 is to select where you will invest, and you want to select the right place to invest, and that depends on how much money you have to invest, where you live, what states you're familiar with, or what states you might want to own property in, because even though you're probably not going to get the property, there is a chance that you might, okay? So you want to take all that into consideration. And also how much money you have to invest, okay? Because some states will require larger deposits than others. And the next thing, step number 2, once you decide where the best place for you is to invest, you want to track down the tax sale information. All right, and that's where things like my guide to the online tax lien sales can help you. And then step number 3 is to evaluate the tax sale properties. You see, in step number 2, you're going to get the information for the tax sale and you're going to get the list. And then in step number 3, you're going to evaluate those properties in the list so that you do avoid the risk, so that you do make your decisions and bid on good properties and not so good properties, all right, or downright bad properties. Because let's face it, there's different reasons why people don't pay their taxes. One is that they're tired of paying taxes on a property they can't do anything with, right? All right, so step number 4 is to prepare to bid at the tax sale. And now these steps don't always have to be in this order, because if you're going to an online sale, you might do some preparation right at the beginning, because you might register for the tax sale before you even start evaluating properties. It all depends, because some of these tax sales you have to register way ahead of time. Some of these online tax sales, and that's because they want plenty of time for you to get your paperwork in. You will have to do a W-9 form online. It will all be completed online, and they want plenty of time for you to get your deposit in as well. All right, and all that is part of preparing to bid at the tax sale. And then step number 5, of course, is that you got to show up and bid at the tax sale. You know, just showing up is part of the battle, okay? And by showing up, I don't mean going to the live sale, although sometimes you might want to do that, but spending the time to put your bids in online, which is pretty easy to do. They make it pretty easy to do. So the truth is that anyone can buy profitable tax liens with the right guidance. And I've got another question for you. I'm hoping that you all say yes to this question, because if you don't say yes, then you probably shouldn't be here. But who wants to get double-digit returns on your money without the risk of the stock market? Okay, that's the whole reason why I got involved. If this is something that you want, but you haven't gotten started yet, because I know a lot of you haven't, what's holding you back? Are you not sure which direction to go in? You don't know what to do next? I mean, if that's your problem, I can certainly help you with that. If you're unsure of the risks ahead and you haven't gotten started because you're afraid of making a mistake that will cost you money, that's another thing I can help you with. If you don't think that you know enough, if you're suffering from paralysis of analysis, I can help you with that too. And if you just don't have enough time, believe it or not, that's something that I've helped a lot of my clients with as well. I've just connected them to the right people that can do the investing for them. So that's another thing that I can do for you. Now, it's simple, but it's not easy. Only a few states have tax sales online, and I've already given those to you, so you know which those are, okay? You know which ones they are. But even in these states, not all counties have online tax sales. That is what I have. I've done all the research, found all the counties that have online tax sales, and in fact, I update that almost every year because new stuff happens every year. And I've got it all in my Buying Tax Liens online course. Let me just tell you a little bit more about that. My guide to Buying Tax Liens online, which is in this course, tells you how to participate in these sales, when these tax sales take place, and which tax sales are online, had to participate in them. It tells you when they take place, how to research properties, avoid risks, and make good decisions. Okay. Now, it's been newly updated, as I do regularly update it because there's more stuff coming online all the time. And you do get instant access, lifetime updates, and there's a few recorded webinar trainings in here. Every time I update it, I add a new one, or sometimes I replace an old one because things change online. They're changing their websites all the time. And there's also bonus training videos, bonus training tutorials on how to navigate some of those websites, which I will also be updating. And every time I update it, you get instant access because it's all available online. And you get the guide to online tax lien sales, which is a document. I think it's like around 26 or 30 pages. So what is the investment? Well, what is it worth to you? What if you can make just 10% on your money over the next year without the risk of the markets? What if you were able to do that over the next 10 or 20 years? Well, here's what you'll get if you decide that this is something you want to do, okay? It's, might not be for everybody, but if you really want to get involved with tax liens online, this is something I'm going to give you a really good offer on. There are 6 webinar trainings that is a $997 value. Actually, it's probably even more than that. It also comes with the audios and PDF slides for each of the trainings. That's a $497 value. 9 video tutorials, another $497 value. The guide to online tax sales, a $97 value. I've got a due diligence checklist in there. I know some of you want to know how to do your due diligence. $49 value, and lifetime updates, which is priceless.